Well, gracious greetings, St. Stephen family and guests. Welcome to another edition of Living Water for Thirsty Thursday. Yeah, you can see I'm behind the desk again. Some would say going to work is the same old, just like being behind this desk. It'd be the same old. Going on the freeway, same old freeway. Going to the grocery store, same old grocery store. Some people even talk about same old husband, same old wife, same old kids, same old body, same old situations that I find myself in. Well, as you can tell, we want to talk about the same old. We want to hopefully have takeaways that will help with the ABCs, if you would, under the same old. ABCs being that of things that we have apathy about, boredom over, or complacency that could actually even lead to distress and depression. The scripture that I want to read from is Hebrews, the 5th chapter, the 13th and the 14th verse. And it says, "For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil." And using this text today because it's a text that helps us to know we should always be growing. We should always be going. We should always be evolving. And one of the things that keeps us from growing and going and evolving is having a sense, if you would, of apathy, which simply means I don't care, I don't have any concern, whichever way the wind blows is cool on me. Or boredom, which speaks more of time, meaning right now, I'm not interested in what's going on. It is boring me. Or complacency, that maybe because I'm apathetic or maybe because I'm bored, complacency has crept in. And that just simply says, I'm good with doing just enough. That looks just about right. The TLR method, that looks just about right. Or that's enough, or that's all I'm willing to give. Just kind of complacent. Those are not good places to be, because if we stay there long enough, we might move into distress, which is my own thing. I think distress is what a lot of us are, where we have multiple issues in our lives that are unresolved, but we Rolodex through them, which could then quickly move over to depression. And the areas that those typically show up in, which is what the Hebrew writer is trying to address, why it's so important for us to grow. It starts with these 7 areas that I think are critically important. There's more than this in the leads, but I think these 7 are critical. And he's addressing the first one, which is spiritually. Obviously, we have to always be growing in our faith. We shouldn't still be sipping on the milk is what he's talking about here. We have to move to the meat. And all that simply says is, we should be reading the word. We should be fasting. We should be praying. We should be loving our enemies. We should be praying for those that despitefully use us. We should be continually growing in our faith. And then physically, not just spiritually, but then physically, what are we doing? A lot of us may not like the way we are eating. We may not like the way we are exercising. We may not like the way a certain area looks, but the same old, we don't necessarily do anything about it. Or even if we do something and it goes for a day and a half and then we're done with it. Because we become apathetic, bored, complacent with it, whatever the case may be. And so this is pushing us to go and to grow spiritually and physically, which is important. Then maritally, what do we do to push ourselves in our marriage to be a better spouse? You may have known some things about them 10 years ago, but have those things changed? Do you need to update? Or is there still some freshness, or is there kind of a rut that you are in your marital relationship? Or not just maritally, but singly. And just kind of make up a word right there for those that are single, embracing your singleness and living holy and righteous before God, and thankful and grateful that God has you in this place for his plans and purposes. May not be what you want, but you haven't gone to this place of apathy with the whole world because you prefer to be married, but God has you as single. And so you've become apathetic. You're bored with everything you're doing in the moment because you're apathetic, and you've become complacent with what you do. and it starts to move towards distress and depression. All of those things could happen. Or parentally, the Lord has blessed you to have children and you have these kids, but you're in a rut because the way they act and what they do, and they're ungrateful. They don't listen. They're not doing well in school. They are doing, or they're doing well, but it doesn't seem like it's because of you, or whatever the case may be. Those same apathy and boredom and complacency and distress and depression, those ABCs still affect the leads in all of those things. And it can have a weight-bearing effect that starts to cripple us and immobilize us to where the same old keeps on happening with that. And then also professionally as well, not moving along in our career, not climbing the corporate ladder as we once desired or as we thought, or we look and we see we're not where we thought we should be, or we look at our peers and they seem to be progressing at a much rapid pace than we are. And then that frustrates us and gets us into a place that we are not happy. Or even educationally, if you would, getting us to this place where we are frustrated because we're not moving through the degrees, not getting degrees, haven't moved to that place of a terminal degree or whatever the case may be. All of those things can get us. And so I pray that we would do exactly what this text says, and that is to grow in our relationship with, because if we grow in our relationship with God spiritually, everything else will fall into place. He says, strong meat belongeth to them that are full age. And that full age is full maturity to the point where I know I need God to help me to move through this. I know if I put my trust and I put my reliance upon God to be the very best me that I can be, then all of these other leads will fall into place and the ABCs will be eradicated. I will no longer be apathetic. I won't be bored. I won't be complacent. Therefore, I won't be distressed or depressed because God has given me a purpose and a plan to live. Closing verse that I wanted to read here is in verse 12, which is what comes up a lot of times that keeps us really in this place of the same old. Verse 12 says that you be not slothful, that we be not lazy, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises of God. We have to follow God and obey his promises. And then we won't have this sense of the same old. Tune in next week as we talk about I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Continue to make God proud in all you say, think, and do.